Are you a fan of classic animation? Disney's Big Hero 6 is the Academy Award winner for Best Animated Feature. Whether in 3D or 2D, this is one you will want to share with your entire family, and it is today's featured item, which you can buy in the Great Media Universe store.
Hello everyone, this is Kevin, your entrepreneur, and we have to talk about Charlottesville a little bit because, as you were probably very aware, there was a very disgusting protest that happened a couple weeks ago where Nazis and white supremacists and, very bad people went to the streets to protest something. Then some other extreme groups got involved and there was violence, lots and lots of violence. And not only was it disappointing to hear that certain viewpoints still existed, the violence that ensued afterwards was even more devastating. And obviously every company and every person with an opinion has a stance on it. This isn't necessarily mine, only to say that I was very disturbed by what I saw. And that's pretty much all I feel that needs to be said. But Uber and Lyft did send out some emails, and I want to read these emails word for word and tell you my opinion on both of them. Here's what Uber said. Dear Kevin, we were horrified by the neo-Nazi demonstration that took place in Charlottesville, which resulted in the loss of life of a young woman as well as 2 Virginia state troopers responding to the protest. There was simply no place for this type of bigotry, discrimination, and hate. As the country braces for more white supremacist demonstrations, we want to let you know that we are doing for the Uber community. 1, we will act swiftly and decisively to uphold our community guidelines, including our policy against discrimination of any kind. This includes banning people from the app. 2, 24/7 in-app support is available to answer questions and address concerns. You always have the right to end your trip if you feel uncomfortable or disrespectful. Now, more than ever, we must stand against hatred and violence. Thank you for making our community one that we can all be proud of. On behalf of all of us at Uber, Megan Verena Joyce, Regional General Manager, US and Kansas City. That was Uber's response. Here's Lyft's response. And their headline is called Keeping Lyft a Safe Space. And it's Lyft represents all people, including the 66% of drivers who identify as a minority, and every ride is an opportunity to bring different people of different backgrounds together. With white supremacists planning rallies nationwide, we want to share an update on resources to keep drivers safe. 1, watch for safety alerts from Lyft. We're continuing to monitor Orange County for possible activity from hate groups. Number 2, report incidents of hateful intimidation and harassment. Our team reviews all feedback you leave for passengers for violations of Lyft's anti-discrimination policies. Rate someone 3 stars or less and you won't be matched again. 4, I think it's 4, yeah. Use the 24/7 critical response line. If you ever feel unsafe, first dial 911 and then reach out to Lyft. We're also partnering with the Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization with a long history of fighting hate and intolerance, to provide educational resources for drivers. You'll hear more from us on those efforts in the coming weeks. We're committed to continue listening, learning, and acting to protect the safety and inclusivity of our community. So here's my takeaway from the 2 emails. They both sound very similar in some ways. They both oppose white supremacy and Nazism, which they should. And they both say that they have guidelines and they will be upheld. And this is where I'm going to get accused of siding with Lyft over Uber again, but I kind of think Lyft's response was a little better. Because while Uber said that they will uphold their community guidelines and they want everyone to feel safe and they will not tolerate bigotry and hatred, Lyft singles out the drivers. They single out like, hey, we are here to protect our drivers, and here's how we're going to do it. Uber's response was largely, I really don't know what Uber's general response was other than to say that Uber really does not tolerate this. But it's so vaguely worded that only after I read it a 3rd time did I feel a little safe, because when I first read it, it really seemed like, hey, we will not tolerate problems from you. And if there's any problems, we will uphold the community guidelines and suspend you. Now, does it say riders or just in general? Let me double check that. Yeah, all it says is We will act swiftly and decisively to uphold our community guidelines, including our policy against discrimination of any kind. This includes banning people from the app. Notice how they did not say banning riders. They did not say banning drivers. They banned people from the app. And this is where I suspect there's going to be a problem, because people are really sensitive these days and they complain. What happens if you did vote for Donald Trump and you happen to admit that while you're driving a passenger? If they say that, does Uber assume you are a white supremacist? Because I know a lot of people who voted for Trump who are not white supremacists. What if you have just any general issue with the way your communities are run? Are you now hate-filled? The fact that Uber wrote the email in such broad terms is concerning me. Lyft made it very clear they will protect the drivers. Uber, not so much. And for the record, in these uncertain times, I would obviously recommend not talking politics at all, which you should have never been doing in the first place if you were driving for Uber and Lyft. But now, more than ever, it's just best not to do it, because with everyone being really sensitive right now, you don't know what people are going to take out of context. Heck, some people are going to watch this very video and they're going to claim I'm a neo-Nazi and that I'm defending them. I'm not. I just don't want to see drivers get terminated from and lose their job because of some offhand comment that they made that may or may not have anything to do with racism. Obviously, we should fight hatred and bigotry by loving one another and being kind and respectful. What concerns me more about the Lyft email as opposed to the Uber email as opposed to the Lyft emails, that the Uber email kind of does suggest that if you don't think the way they do, they won't hesitate to kick you off the platform, and that is not a good feeling to have. But what do you folks think? Did you get the emails? Did you read them? What do you think is being said here? Do you think Lyft or Uber made a better argument or a better, assurance? Do you think they did both the same amount of time? I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy the videos I make, consider becoming a Patreon member or buying some swag from the Great Media Universe store, and check the link for the item of the day. And if you want to try driving for Uber or Lyft yourself, there are referral links below. You'll get a nice little bonus. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.